Good evening. Today's date is Tuesday, March the 12th, 2024. This is a regular scheduled board meeting of the School Board of Commissioners for Richland County School District 1. We are located at the Stevenson Administration Building with the address of 1616 Richland Street, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. Pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, all persons, organizations, and media outlets, as requested, have been notified of the time, date, place, and agenda of this meeting. We do have an executive session agenda as outlined on the written agenda. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Harris that we go into executive session. It's been seconded by Commissioner Clyburn that we go into executive session. Question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Allow me to read before you what we will be discussing in executive session under the Office of Human Resources. We will be discussing item 3.01, HR Personnel Update, presented by Ms. Gilliard. 3.02, Leave of Absence, presented by Ms. Gilliard. 3.03, Hiring of Personnel, presented by Ms. Gilliard. At this time, we now stand in recess to go to executive session. The Board of Commissioners are now returning from executive session, which we entered into at 6:03 p.m. and we exited at 6:09 p.m.
6:09.
According to the Secretary Treasurer, this is correct and accurate. We call this meeting to order. At this time, we do have an agenda set before us. We'll start off with the first item on the agenda, which is 5.01, the invocation of Barbara Weston.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and for your mercy. We ask that you let us lead by example and that you allow us to lead with our hearts and our heads. We ask that you do everything for our district, our students, our staff, and our communities. It is in your Son, Jesus' name, that we count it done. Amen.
Thank you for your invocation. Thank you for the service you do throughout Richland County, and thank you for what you do here with Richland School District 1. We're now at item 5.02, which is the agenda adoption. At this point, I'd like to ask a question. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Devine to adopt the agenda. Question or discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
not a clarification on the agenda, but I do want us to clarify the vote of coming out of executive session as to who made that motion, who seconded, and that it was carried unanimously.
All right, Secretary Treasurer, do you have that record?
Ms. Weston, Commissioner Weston made the motion. Commissioner Clyburn seconded it, and it was a unanimous vote.
All right, thank you. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. At this time, because there is a question, it's been answered, but there is a need for us to vote on the motion and the second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. It's a 7-0 vote. The motion passed. Please be advised that all 7 Board of Commissioners are in attendance tonight. All right. We're going to item 5.03, which is School Board Spotlight, presented by Commissioner Weston, who will be reading, and Commissioner Clyburn, who will be standing.
Tonight, we are pleased to have 2 guests with us who are here to make a special awards presentation on behalf of the Carolina Family Engagement Center. Will Mr. Tom Hudson, Executive Director of the South Carolina School Improvement Council and co-director of the Carolina Family Engagement Center, and Ms. Loran Galoto Patel, if I'm mispronouncing that, sure. Regional Family Engagement Liaison for the Midlands with the Carolina Family Engagement Center. Please come forward.
Over here,
Thank you.
to the podium. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, representatives of Richland District 1. It's really a pleasure to be with you this evening and our regional engagement, family engagement liaison, Loran Patel, for the Midlands region to recognize 6 schools in Richland 1 for their participation in the Carolina Family Engagement Center's partnership initiative. The Carolina Family Engagement Center is the statewide center for South Carolina. It works with district schools, families, partner organizations, communities, and others to strengthen family engagement efforts and impacts, and building capacity for change through direct training and technical assistance. I'm pleased to be a co-project director for this project, in addition to being executive director of the South Carolina School Improvement Council, and CFEC is housed within the SESIC office at the College of Education here in Columbia, and it's funded through federal grants through the U.S. Department of Education. We are here to thank Richland 1 and also for Richland 1, your family, parent and family engagement coordinator, Ms. LaTarsha Murray, who is here with us. Can you come up as well? We want to thank these 6 schools for their partnership, for reaching out and really doing what they can to build on family engagement within their school communities. And those schools are Alcorn Middle School, Burton Pack Elementary School, Eau Claire High School, Edward E. Taylor Elementary School, Hayward Gibbs Middle School, and Hyatt Park Elementary School. And they were partners with us from August 2019 to May of 2023. Now, the first 5-year grant period concluded last fall. However, we are very pleased that we've received continued funding from the U.S. Department of Education through 2028. And we hope to have the opportunity to continue to partner with Richland 1 and its schools in family engagement in the next 5 years and beyond. And we have 6 plaques to present, but I have one representative plaque here that I brought with us at this time, and I would like to present it to you, Ms. Murray, at this time so that you can convey this to your schools.
We'll come down this way and have a picture.
Ms. Murray, are any of those school representatives here tonight? We do have our parent and family engagement specialists that work with those schools.
Excellent.
Y'all can sit down, sit there. Y'all good. Y'all good. I'm good. Good to see you. Good, I'm gonna watch it. That's all I heard.
Yeah, Commissioner.
I was wondering what.
The camera. You can't see the camera. The camera can't see you.
Next smiles, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Eyes open, next smiles, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right,
Congratulations. Thank you. I believe that concludes the school board spotlight.
It does.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Weston. Thank you, Commissioner Clyburn. We'll now go to Office of Academics, which is item 6.01, Clemson Masters Cohort, presented by Ms. Studevant.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Bishop, Commissioner, Board of Commissioners, and Dr. Vesey. Before I get started, I wanted to see if Brianna Varin is here. Well, before I go forward, this is an award for the last of our 4 candidates. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it from the mic. For our last of our degree candidates, and we wanted to honor. And so I was expecting one to attend, but she's taught all day and she's probably unable to attend. So we will be going out to visit Brianna Varin, Kayla Snyder, Ashley Haley, and Amanda Molina to recognize their accomplishment with their Masters of Literacy at Clemson University. If you all could give them a round of applause, and they'll receive the award. Thank you.
I believe you have the next item, Ms. Sturdivant. You have the next item? Okay, all right.
No. Bless you.
The next item on the agenda is 6.02, Special Services, SEL Support.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Richland One's goal is to create inclusive classrooms and provide its students with a solid foundation in social skills to decrease distractions long-term. Social emotional learning can be particularly beneficial for students with disabilities and emphasizes relationships, social interactions, helping students develop a sense of safety and belonging. Tonight, we're going to highlight and celebrate RoboCon, a socially assistive robotics program designed to improve outcomes for children with disabilities. RoboCon recognizes that students have unique assets and individual needs and seeks to ensure that students have meaningful, purposeful experiences. Richland One's SEL work with the robotics has been featured by WIS and ABC Columbia. Director LaJamia Dixon is unable to attend tonight, but her illustrious Office of Special Services team will provide a brief historical overview, followed by the principal, staff, and students from Laurel Hill, and Dr. Lisa Kershaw of RoboCon. Enjoy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Andrea Larrymore, your social and emotional instructional coach through the Office of Special Services here in Richland School District 1. It is our mission to ensure that every student with autism spectrum disorder has the opportunity to reach their highest potential. Here in Richland School District 1, our Office of Special Services, we have embarked upon a journey of implementing in Phase 1, 14 robots for students with autism in 2021 school year. In 2022 school year, we expanded that with implementation through Phase 2 of 15 other robots across our district, which includes all of our elementary schools. The Office of Special Services believes that students with social and communication deficits have such great potential to contribute to our world, and we owe it to them and ourselves to help them develop social skills as they are succeeding here in our community. At this time, we're going to now have Mrs. Dina Jude, our curriculum coordinator, to share with you.
Good evening, everyone. It is definitely a pleasure and an honor to stand before you today to highlight something that we hold true and dear to our hearts. So at this time, I am going to invite the principal of Laurel Hill Elementary School, Miss Adams, along with a student of ours, and Mr. Davis, before Dr. Kershaw comes.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
I am so proud to stand before you alongside Mr. Mark Davis, our therapeutic counselor, and also the 24-25 Classified Employee of the Year, and Quentin Burgess, a fifth grader, who is going to share his testimony regarding how Milo has changed the trajectory of his life. Milo, a Robokind robot, has been integrated into our school with promising results through customizable content and adaptive feedback within interactive lessons. It addresses social skills, improves communication, fosters emotional regulation, increases engagement and motivation, and support academic learning. Now I will turn it over to Mr. Mark Davis.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Again, my name is Mark Davis. I'm the therapeutic counselor at Horror Hill. I've had the opportunity and privilege to work with Quentin the last 3 years. Quentin was a student that he had to pretty much grow to learn me, and I had to learn him. But with the addition of Milo, our Robokind robot, we have made great strides in his behavior, his attitude towards academics, which is the most most important thing. And he explained to me that he wanted to play football. And with me being the head football coach, well, used to be the head football coach at Hopkins Middle School. I retired this year. I explained to him what he has to do. And like I told him, like I tell my students, my players, is student athlete, not athlete student. In order to do that, you have to work hard in the classroom. Your behavior has to be on point, and you just pretty much have to be that model student. And with Quentin, he took in what I said, and now he's on honor roll, no disciplinary behavior, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Hello everyone, my name is Quentin, and I'm going to be telling you about the robot Milo today. Should I go ahead? Yes. What I think about Milo the robot, I think the robot helps kids out with writing, reading, math, personal space, manners, and self-control. Mr. Davis and I have used this robot for years. I got in trouble often and throughout fourth grade by hitting others and throwing materials. Mr. Davis put me on to Milo, and without 5 to 6 days later, I learned manners and how to control myself. I started writing and doing my math, reading, and giving others their personal space. I love this robot because it has changed my life. My goal is to play football in middle school. I have not gotten in trouble this year. I have not gotten in trouble.
So as technology continues to evolve, integrating innovative solutions like Milo into educational settings holds immense potential for improving student outcomes and fostering inclusive learning environments. We invite you to come visit us at Horror Hill Elementary School to see more of Milo and speak with additional students on how it has impacted them. Thank you so much.
We're now going to have a demonstration with our robots.
Good evening. Good evening. I am Dr. Lisa Kershaw. I'm used to being in the classroom, so hopefully you can hear me even without the mic. And I have brought a few of our friends. You have all 4 of the robots in Richland 1.
Would you mind speaking into the mic for the online audience?
You started with 1 robot in 2017 with a pilot through the South Carolina Department of Education. And since then, you have grown to 29 robots in each of your elementary schools. So I brought a friend here who's going to talk to you for just a few minutes so that you get a little piece of what he can see and what he can do and is doing for your students.
Uh-oh. That might, what his name?
Hi, I'm Milo. We are going to be great friends. We have a lot in common. Let me tell you some things about me. like baseball. Let me show you my moves. Now, it's your turn. Can you show me how you play baseball? Wow! Home run. Amazing. I really like car rides. They can be very fun. Sometimes I pretend to drive a car. Like this. Can you pretend to drive with me? Did you look both ways?
No.
Beep, beep. Awesome. I am a robot. But I am also a dancing machine. I love to dance. Will you dance with me? Ready? Go! Nice. That was fun. There are some things I do not like. I do not like loud noises. Wow, 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 wow. They make me panic. But I can calm down by taking a breath. One more time. I feel better now. Do you know what bees gather? Bees gather pollen from flowering plants. I do not like pollen. It makes me sneeze. And then I need to wash my hands. I want to show you a few things I can do. Like show icons on my chest screen. Look! Here's a train. Chugga 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 chugga. Here is a robot like me. I can move my fingers. I can wave my hand. I can nod yes. I can shake my head. No. I can close my eyes. And open them again. I can walk.
So that's just a little bit about what the robot can do and is doing in your classrooms as he helps teach your students about communication, social skills, and improves their behavior and engagement so they're able to focus better on their lessons. So at RoboKind, we recognize outstanding partners and we consider you partners. I work as a liaison for the Southeast, and Richland 1 is definitely a partner with RoboKind, and your teachers are doing outstanding work in the field in terms of implementing the program for students. And so several of them have been recognized internationally. And so we would like to honor some of them here this evening. We have a little certificate for you, so as we call your name, if you would come forward, please. Ms. Vanika Brown from Meadowfield Elementary. Miss Ramona Chichu from Watkins Nance Elementary. Miss Shamice Wallace, who was a part of the initial pilot in 2017 from AC Moore, was unable to join us, but she has been working hard with this program. We'd like to honor her. Miss Tricia Linton from Carver Lyon Elementary. Mr. Mark Davis from Horrell Hill Elementary. Ms. Christina Gillard Will from J.P. Thomas Elementary. Ms. Angela P. from Rosewood Elementary. Ms. Paula Watkins from Burnside Elementary. And one of the top 10 users in the United States who's unable to join us this evening, Ms. Janelle Mickens from Satchel Ford Elementary. Thank you all, and thank you, Richland One, for recognizing the importance in social skill and teaching children self-control, self-reliance, so that they can focus on their academics and aspire to be the best they can be. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I see how I have it?
Thank you. Great investment.
Like a baby. So you lift weights, huh? Oh, wait a minute. Yep, he ain't ready yet. We got 2 seconds. See, I tell you. Quit. Him. So what is the female name? What is the female? I just want to know. Carla.
Robots are heavy. Or take a picture. They're solid as a
And I took your baby.
All right, everybody, look right here. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 1. 1. Big eyes. Big smile. 3, 2, 1. 1. Hold on, let me get So I could just have just the winners, or just the people who got it. Just sure against anybody else, because I can definitely get a shot. Now we pull them up.
I think it's just a picture. Everybody's rightful child.
Rightful child.
All right, same thing, everybody look right here. All right, here we go. Big eyes, big smiles. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right, go.
And in closing, I just want to say that Richland One is hosting through RoboCon a lunch and learn with 7 other school districts. They're coming to visit us on March 22nd at Olympia. We'll share the information. They want to see our work with RoboCon and social emotional learning. So again, thank you, Office of Special Services and the board for supporting us. Say that again. From 9 to 1. But I'll give the information to Dr. Vesey to share with you all to drop by. Thank you.
Dr. Vesey, would you like to say anything before everyone leaves?
Like to take the opportunity to thank the teachers and Ms. Sturdivant and special ed for the work that they do. As we often say here in Richland 1, we do what we can to make sure that all students' lives are transformed so they can reach their full potential. So once again, on behalf of the board and the superintendent, we say thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. What an excellent presentation, and I think we see the impact on every child in that one student presenting to us. We're now at item 7.01. Okay, Commissioner Devine.
Dr. Vesey, is there an opportunity to ask questions or no?
Yeah, we can.
I just had one question. So once the child graduates from elementary and go to middle school, what's kind of the next step for the student?
Ms. Sturdivant is coming around to lead us from elementary to middle school to high school.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave that soon. Yes, we just started piloting in elementary school. We'll try to see the success to build, but it is an opportunity to move it to middle school. But right now, the goal is if you start elementary and build the solid foundation, the goal is to get that foundation in elementary school to be able to transition to middle. Limor, you can come up as well to add.
Good afternoon. She's actually really correct. The beautiful thing about it, starting in elementary school, is the foundation. The foundation of really being able to tackle those social skills and those developmental speech delays. RoboKind also helps support when it comes to speech and language impairment as well. So that has been an aim, as we know, that is a major deficit here in our community. It has really been a support as our speech and language impairments teachers and instructors go in to give those supports to those students.
All right. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Mr. Chairman.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from any board members? Commissioner Weston.
Yes. What is the cost of the robots?
Oh, I'll check and get an answer back with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing none, hear none. All right, thank you again for your presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for addressing the questions. Item 7.01, public participation. We're now at the public participation portion of our meeting where an individual can speak on an agenda item or non-agenda item. Speakers may offer objective comments on school operations and programs that concern them. You're allowed 3 minutes to speak, and at the last 30 seconds of your time, our parliamentarian, Commissioner Jamie Devine, will cue you to start wrapping up your comments. The board will not respond on tonight, but we will respond in writing within 10 business days. First person to come up tonight is LaShonda McClint. Is that correct? McClinton.
Good evening, Chairman and Richland School District 1 Board. My name is LaShonda McClinton. I have 2 children that attend Eau Claire High School. My concerns tonight is that the school is very poorly dilapidated. My daughter was given and fed molded grapes twice within 30 days. You have leaky ceilings, leaking hallways. You have brown water coming from the faucet. You have missing ceiling tiles. You have bed bugs in the fine arts department. You have no AC and heat the entire school year. I understand that federal money is sent to the state of South Carolina where Governor McMaster allocates certain fundings to the district. So my question to the district would be, where is the money going? Because apparently it's not being put in the proper places at Eau Claire High School. I'm a District 1 graduate, a graduate of Eau Claire High School. So it is a privilege and an honor to have my children to graduate from my alma mater. However, I'm very, very disgusted at what's going on behind the scenes at that school. We pay taxes. Where's that money going? The money that's given from the federal government, where's that money going? Just today, I received an email that there was a bat in one of the classrooms at the school. The fact that the office had air and heat, the guidance department had air and heat, The library had air and heat, but the classroom did not. It's appalling to me because every student in District 1, especially my children and the other children at Eau Claire High School, deserves the best educational environment possible. So I guess on tonight, my presence being here tonight is to say to District 1 officials, when will someone stand up and say, not on my watch? When will someone stand up and say, we can no longer fail our students on my watch? When will someone take accountability for what's not happening at Eau Claire High School? What's not happening at Lower Richland? What's not happening at Alcorn? What's not happening at Gibbs? What's not happening at Columbia High? So it's not just Eau Claire, it's the whole cluster. It's the whole cluster. So I would please beg you to try your best to get those issues at Eau Claire High School fixed and resolved before the beginning of next school year. Thank you for your time.
All right. Sherry Flowers.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board, everyone in attendance. I am Sherry Flowers, the Parents for Peace Initiative Committee Chair for the Columbia branch NAACP. Parents for Peace is organized as a safe haven for parents to have a place to relieve themselves of the issues they may be having within the school district. We intend to be a listening ear to parents and students. This service is available to all people of all races, as we at the Columbia branch NAACP are colorblind. We want to ensure that every child receives a proper and fair education. We are in hopes that PFP will bring more unity with the parents and schools. The word peace in our name stands for progress, equity, accountability, community, and education. This is for your awareness. More information can be found at www.csc5508naacp.org or by calling 803-256-8771. Remember, your vote is your voice. At this time, are there any questions?
Thank you.
Dr. Erica Hersey.
Good evening, Chairman Bishop, Dr. VC. I'm Dr. Erica Hersey, a retired educator from Richland School District 1. The events of Friday, March 1st will remain etched in the memories of many students and staff at Lower Richland High School. The lack of communication, supervision, leadership led to a traumatic experience for all involved. Hearing an announcement introducing everyone to remain quiet, lock doors, and turn off lights instilled pure panic. Witnessing public officials injured only added to the trauma. Being confined to one area for hours without any official communication exacerbated the fear and uncertainty. Rumors swirled, fueling panic among parents as well as students. Some may feel that I should no longer care because I am no longer the principal of Lower Richland High School, but I'm still a parent of a child in Richland School District 1. The aunt of children in Richland 1, the mentor to many children in Richland District 1, friend and mentor to employees in Richland District 1, and a proud member of the Lower Richland community. I refuse to continue to sit quietly and turn a blind eye to what is happening to our school and our district. Our students and educators deserve an environment where they feel safe, valued, and supported. The decline in academic performance is evident, and I cannot help but wonder if this is because of the issues that are in place at Lower Richland. Effective leadership at the school level begins here with the board. What steps will you take to ensure the safety and well-being of our children, our school, and our community? Thank you.
Robin Smith.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Sierra Patterson. I'm a 17-year-old girl who attends Lower Richland High School.
I'm a senior this year. I have 25 and a half credits with a 3.9 unweighted GPA. I'm also an IB and honor student. I have done cheer for Laura Richland since I was 13 years old on varsity every year. I'm enlisted in the SC National Guard with the MOS of 31 Bravo, which is a military police officer. And I will be attending basic training in AIT this summer after graduation. Then in spring 2025, I will be attending Winston-Salem University, majoring in criminal justice and a minor in forensic psychology to become a homicide detective. I have already been accepted into Winston-Salem as well. While attending Laura Richland High School, I haven't had any referrals nor disciplinary actions. On January 22nd, as I was trying to break up an altercation due to no admin nor security being present, I was then attacked by a girl and we began to have a physical altercation. Then I was attacked by her friend as well, which I have video evidence of. This caused me to be referred to the hearing board and then to Olympia Learning Center because of the violation of Level 3, 3.17 major disruption of the education environment. At Olympia, they only have 2 out of my 7 classes, which are personal finance and economics. I then put in an appeal and waited 3 weeks, and then to where I went to my appeal, and I was sent to serve at Homebound Services last week when I got this information. But they didn't have my classes on Edgenuity, so then they contacted my base school, which is Laura Richland, and they said they would try to get my classes online through Schoology. And I was informed of that information today. I stand before you to state I have missed almost 2 months of my education due to this altercation, and I'm the only senior in this situation. They are all receiving the education needed for them to complete their grade, but I am not receiving none of mine in my senior year, and I'm the senior who is graduating this year. These are classes I need to graduate that aren't available. I have reached out multiple times to get work from my base school, but didn't receive anything, and I was removed from Power School, so my teachers were unable to grade me and it was putting me more behind. I am not failing, and I know I'll be able to catch up with the time I have left. I'll do a behavior contract or whatever is needed for me to go back to school. I've paid my senior dues for graduation. I paid for my prom dress already as well. I worked so hard to be in the top 30% of my class. Kept A's and B's every quarter to make sure I continue to excel in my honor and IB courses. I worked so hard for my IB certification. I apologize for my negligence of the violations I was involved in, and I wish it never happened. I wish I could go back and change the whole situation. My education, life, and career are now all on the line and being affected. I don't have time for summer school due to me leaving for basic training in AIT. I didn't put in another appeal because I don't have that much time left, and I really wanted to be heard as soon as possible. Graduation is in 2 months and 3 weeks.
Parliamentarian, let her continue. Finish, Donna.
Graduation is in 2 months and 3 weeks, and prom is in 1 month and 3 weeks. I really hope to attend both. I just want to go back to school to catch up. I'm sorry. I just want to go back to school to catch up back in my classes, which I know I am capable of doing, and walk at my graduation that I have worked so very hard for. Oh, God bless your hearts for what may happen next. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me. Again, God bless you all. Have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.
Right. Scott Barber.
I don't know about you, but that's tough to follow. Y'all need to make that right. That young lady deserves the ability to graduate with her class. There's got to be some exception and some rule somewhere that makes that happen. I understand we got to have rules, but you know what? Some rules are acceptable. There's got to be some way to make that right. All right. So I was here to begin with I wanted to first give kudos. I was listening to the LR community speech and listening to the principal from Kaufman Road talk about the challengers or his experiences as he was educating or turning that school around with the training, the focus on the kids, the accountability that he presented to them. He talked about training the teachers and the staff in the program to accelerate their reading and turn those scores around. He talked about he acknowledged the problems. He acknowledged the scores that were there, the low metrics that they had from time before. But he had a plan. He had a plan that said, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to put people in place to do, how we're going to test it, how we're going to evaluate it. And that was amazing to hear, right? He talked a big one about accountability for the kids. They set goals for the kids in the classroom, and the entire class celebrated when the entire class reached the goal. It wasn't like the highest student who made the perfect A, or it was the entire class, which in turn empowered the kids to help each other out, to build camaraderie and community and advance. I thought that was an excellent idea. And it made me think, like, why can't we do that as a board? Why can't you do that as a board? To hold each other accountable, to set goals, talk about those goals, acknowledge the shortcomings, and do something about it. Instead, I think we continue to follow through, and we talk about the 5 or 10% that succeed and claim success, while the rest of them kind of struggle. So I challenge you for that. The other point I wanted to make is back on February 13th, I spoke in here, and I tried to, in the premise of accountability.
30 seconds.
Oh, goodness. At the premise of accountability, I made reference to commissioners by name. I got told that was not possible, right? That was not allowed. Well, I got a letter from Commissioner Bishop that said he inadvertently applied the rules of the community to the board. And so I appreciate the letter, but it's public record. So, and I wonder, when are you guys going to learn? Because this exact thing was a focus of a lawsuit.
Time is up.
Michelle McCarthy.
Good evening, everyone. The board. My name is Michelle McCarthy. I'm here as a parent of a Meadowfield elementary student. My child's entire kindergarten class was disrupted and displaced from their classroom on February 13th of this year. The first communication that we received from the school about this move was on February 21st, an entire week later, from Principal Maya Woods. She stated to me in a phone call, when I got a hold of her 3 days later, that the reason for the delay was because they were unsure of how long the move would be. Our children were in a temporary classroom with little to no of their supplies, none of their centers, none of their things they need to learn. That email states they were moved due to an odor. The children of that class, their parents, do not believe that. We've seen the news reports. We've seen from WIS. We've seen from Rally R1's social media page the pictures. Did not believe what we were being told. We believe they were moved due to evidence of rat feces and possibly mold being found in their room. The second email we received was on March 3rd, and it stated that pest control and monitoring was happening, as well as air quality control testing and cleaning. But no communication about those results were given to us. That doesn't really seem like false reports, which is the party line that we were told. If there's nothing there, if there's nothing wrong, if those are false reports, why is there a need for pest monitoring and mitigation? Why is there a need for allergy testing to be done? How long were those conditions like that? How long were our kids sitting in a room with rat feces in the air and mold growing in their classroom? What are the long-term ramifications for them? There was another email stating an incorrect relocation date, saying that they had only been moved for a couple of days. I called that out. I talked to Ms. Hagwood herself, the principal's boss, because I couldn't get a hold of the principal once again. After that discrepancy was fixed, I went to the school for a presentation for the kindergartners on March 8th and saw that the door to their room still sealed off. Talked to other parents in the class who had no idea what was going on. They didn't know they were even in a different room because they didn't see the emails. And the teachers were not being allowed to disclose this move on Class Dojo, which is the primary form of communication between our teacher, who is Teacher of the Year at Meadowfield Elementary, and her students. She was not, I'm going to repeat that. The teachers are not
30
being allowed
seconds.
to communicate about what is happening unless parents specifically ask about the movement. To be very clear, we do not blame the teachers because the principal has made it clear that she is the point of communication. She is the one sending all these emails. So the bad communication of lack of transparency that has led to distrust between the parents and the school leadership at Meadowfield Elementary lies with her. My child's class returned to their room yesterday, March 11th, and as of right now, just before I stood up, no email has been sent regarding their move back to their room.
Time is up.
Bethany Tisdale.
Hello, like the previous speaker, I too am a proud Meadowfield parent repping my school tonight. So let me tell you how distressing it is to know that my kindergartner has also been out of his classroom for almost an entire month without the supplies and furnishings that they need to learn. I would like to know what's being done to prevent a rat infestation and other facilities issues from occurring in the future or from worsening. I would also appreciate knowing that there's a strategic communications plan in place. In the future, it would be great if parents could learn when a child is moved, when there is a problem with a classroom facility, instead of waiting 8 days later. I should not have learned from my kindergartner, who, love him, not a reliable narrator. I should not have learned from my kindergartner that his classroom was moved. I should not have heard rumors from my fourth grader that there are rats in the kindergarten wing. I should not have heard from the local news and another parent about this issue before I heard it from the principal. I'm sure I'm not the only parent alarmed at this news and unclear about the schools and the district's response. I think where there's a lack of transparency, there is a lack of trust. Detailed and timely communication is not too much to ask. And I would really like to see some positive change, some momentum from both local and district admin, because this is a communication failure. This is a crisis in leadership. If some of my phrasing tonight sounds a little familiar, it's because some of you received an email from me on February 15th, as did Superintendent Witherspoon. I have yet to get a response. Thank you.
John Black.
I too am a Meadowfield parent, and so y'all know I also am on the SIC as vice chair, and your concerns are being addressed. Take my word on that one. Good evening. As previously announced, the Richland County Neighborhood Council is continuing our collaboration with the Hayward Career and Technical Center to raise funds for the barbering program. While initially we were only accepting donations of checks and money orders, due to numerous requests from the community, we have now added a Cash App option and extended the donation period until Wednesday, March 27th. We have been sharing this information via social media and have some additional media appearances planned as well. I encourage all of you to visit the Hayward Career and Technical Center. The instructors are doing amazing things for our students and setting them up for success. Yesterday, while visiting the center, I had the pleasure of meeting a student that not only will graduate this year with his high school diploma, but will also have earned his automotive ASC certification, as well as having obtained his state of South Carolina barbering license. They're doing amazing work, not only at Hayward, but throughout the district. We must continue, or in some cases, redirect our focus to our students, teachers, and staff. The noise is overshadowing the purpose that we're all here for. Let's make sure our building needs get addressed in a timely manner. Continue the exterminating to remove the unwelcome rodents in our schools. Give out the requested information to support the decisions that have been made that have caused concerns and distrust in our communities. We have got to come together in a non-attacking manner to do good for our students and communities. Great things are happening that are being overshadowed by the noise. At the end of the day, we should be focusing on the students and ensuring their future successes and contributions to and for our communities. The easiest thing that can happen that can solve a lot of the issues, transparency. Open up, answer the requests. Don't require FOIA requests that in one instance received over a $900 bill for. That's not helping the school system. It's not helping the board. It's not helping the community. Something has to be done where we can come together, get clear answers. We may not like the answers that we get, but show us the information, the documents, what you made your decision based on. Share it. It's easy. And then we can be
Time is
back
up.
to focusing on the students.
Right. I believe we overlooked one person who signed up. That'd be Roger Brazeley.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roger Brasley. I am an alumni of Eau Claire High School myself. LaShonda and I actually were schoolmates. I am a product of Eau Claire High School, a real product, like my mother and father met in the hallways of Eau Claire, and here I am. So I actually love what the brother just said about the positivity of what's going on. I want to thank the board for making the decision to close our campus this summer and move the summer school to Keenan so that we can actually get the HVAC systems that we have. I actually saw them. They're there. They're in play. They're in boxes in the breezeway, but they will be installed. I think that, again, as he stated, along the way, we lose focus on what's important, and that's you can't meet anger with anger. You can't meet foolishness with foolishness. Somewhere along the way, we have to be mindful of the success of the children. That is the key. I understand that things are rough, things are different. Even in the times when I went to Eau Claire, it's way different than what it is now. And we just have to stay focused on what's important. We got to get our EOC scores up. We got to get the dropout rate down. We got to get the grad rate up. Like, people don't even understand that our dropout rate affects our grad rate. They don't understand the more kids that drop out of school, our grade rate continues to go down, 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 down. I am actually the SIC president for Eau Claire High School. I've been that the last 3 years, I believe now. And we have a great leader, Mr. Montgomery. He is our principal. He was actually my teacher. He was LaShonda's teacher as well. And he is an awesome man. He's an awesome leader. And I want to thank you guys for putting him in play because he's the best leader we've had since Rodney Zimmerman. I'm going to just say, Rodney Zimmerman and Miss Page, they were my loves. And we were going in a bad way. But Mr. Montgomery has pulled that back in. And we thank God for Mr. Montgomery. And we're going to stand behind him wholeheartedly, 10 toes down. But whatever he decides, we're going to ride with him until the wheels fall off. It's just that simple. So again, I want everyone to stay focused on what's important. Please stop meeting anger with anger. I'm not sure what went on at LR. I'm not down there. That ain't my ministry. Eau Claire is. That's where I've been all my life. And I'm going to stay there. I literally live there. My salon is at the foot of Hyatt Park. I have the Bradley Foundation, and we pour
30 seconds
into the community. So please, guys, just continue to lift Eau Claire up in prayer, that we will continue to succeed and that these children become successful adults in this community. Thank you.
All right. We do have one comment that'll be read in. That was email public participation. It's 3. All right. Thank you.
First one is from a Jim Reed.
I'm gonna need you to a microphone. All right. Yeah, we just couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Well, it's a shorter one.
All right.
It
Sorry.
won't reach me too well. Oh. Mr. Reed states, what is the current total cost to Richland 1 taxpayers for the halt of the construction of the Vance Ford Early Learning Center? A second one comes from Andrea Scott Jackson. She states, I would like to address some concerns to be discussed at this evening's school board meeting, as I will not be in attendance. My son is a freshman scholar athlete at W.J. Keenan High School and has been a member of the varsity baseball team since 7th grade. As a dedicated and involved parent in my child's academics and extracurricular activities, I would like to address some questions/concerns. I have regarding what's being provided or addressed by the district as baseball season has begun. My main concern is that there should be an infield tarp provided to all Richland 1 high schools. I'm not sure who designed Keenan's baseball field, but there are a number of issues and flooding of the field is a major concern. We just started the season last Monday and had to reschedule our Friday game due to the rain from Wednesday that did not dry out by Friday. This is an issue we are faced with every season, but could possibly be addressed and or solved with having an infield tarp. I priced the infield tarp and they start at $1,800. This is a cost I believe the district should cover. This would prevent rescheduling of games in some instances as well, possibly lower the cost of overall maintenance. My next concern is a net in place for foul balls. We have had a number of vehicles damaged, including my own, by foul balls that a net could have been very well prevented had it been in place. To go to other schools in District 1 and other neighboring districts and see how they have these amenities is disheartening, especially since I am a product of W.J. Keenan and Richland 1. I would like for you all to consider these amenities to be added not only to Keenan, but also other schools in the district that may be in need. And lastly, this one is from Jessica McMillan. Good evening, board members. I hate that I am not able to join you this evening, but I will be watching from the stands at my son's baseball game. I would like to thank Richland 1 Facilities team for working hard to address the rodent and mold issues at Middlefield. It's unfortunate that it took social media to get the ball rolling, but I'm thankful nonetheless and for a community that truly cares and steps up when needed. I know the students are looking forward to getting back into their classroom. I went to read with a group of kindergartners right before Valentine's Day, and they made sure to show me the way to their new classroom as we waved to their old one while passing by. They really do love their teachers and classroom and look at it as a second home. Speaking of home, we recently had our annual Real Men Read event, and one of our former Mustangs and current Dreer sophomore, Delton Myers, returned home to Meadowfield to read with our pre-K students. Delton read from his book, The Invisible Injury, that he wrote as a fifth grader at Meadowfield. I would like to thank Delton along with the many dads, granddads, public servants, and community members who took the time to invest in our students. They too can and will do amazing things like Delton. Shouldn't we give them the best learning environment and opportunities to thrive and follow their dreams? Let's keep working towards being good stewards and making our district the best Richland 1 that our kids deserve.
All right, thank you. This now exhausts our public participation. As stated previously, we will not respond to anyone tonight, but we will respond to you in a matter of some business days, as stated before. We're now at item 8.01, which is minutes. February 27, 2024. Is there a motion on the floor to adopt the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, move to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Been moved by Commissioner Devine to adopt the consent agenda, which is 8.01, minutes February 27, 2024. And second by Commissioner Myers. Question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor, let us cast our vote electronically. And those who oppose. Has everyone voted electronically? It's a six yeas, one abstention. Motion passed. All right. We're now at the Office of Human Resources. Item 9.01, HR Personnel Update, presented by Ms. Gilliard.
Good evening, Board Chair, members of the Board of School Commissioners, and Dr. Vesey. HR updates were provided in executive session as information. If you have any questions, I will answer them at this time.
This was an information item. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. We'll now go to item 9.02, leave of absence. Ms. Gilliard.
The administration recommends approval of the following leave of absence without pay pursuant to policy GCC GDC, staff leaves and absences as noted for the 2023-2024 school year for employee with initials AL. The administration so recommends.
You heard the recommendation of administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Clyburn. Question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll now cast our vote electronically. Seven yeas. Decision is unanimous. The ayes have it. Motion passed. 9.03, hiring of personnel. Ms. Gilliard.
The administration recommends hiring all 10 teachers on the attached list for the 2023-2024 and 2024-2025 school years. The administration so recommends.
You heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Devine. Question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll now cast our vote electronically. Seven yeas, the ayes have it. Motion passed. We're moving down to item 10, which is Office of Finance. Item 10.01, request for reallocation of funds, presented by Ms. Bean.
Good evening, Chairman Bishop, Commissioners, Dr. Vesey. The administration is requesting approval of the reallocation of a portion of the fiscal year 22-23 general fund unassigned fund balance for the following projects in the amount of $11.1 million. The projects are retention bonuses for the spring and fall, classroom furniture, esports, capital projects for marquees, capital projects for multiple fleet, professional development, which is travel, R1X health incentives, and the new Chronos implementation. The administration so recommends.
You heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Devine. Question or discussion? Commissioner Lomanak.
Thank you, Chairman Bishop. And I know that we discussed this at the administration, at least my committee meeting with Commissioner Devine, but could you provide information about the amounts of the retention bonuses for both classified and certified employees so folks will know?
So for our certified, they receive $2,000, and our classified receive $1,000, and they're going to receive it net, and that's half in the spring, half in the fall.
Thank you.
Any other question or discussion? Commissioner Weston.
Thank you very much. This also came up to our committee meeting, and I had a question about esports because some parents had asked me what exactly is that. I sort of asked that question. Will esports be receiving credit or will it just be a sport or something of that nature? I just need more of an explanation.
Good evening, members of the board, Chairman, Dr. Vesey. We're breaking the program into three phases. Phase one, which is the funding here, is to get the infrastructure, the teams, the coaches, the rooms, everything set up. This year, or starting next year, we're hoping it'll be club and some competitive. In years 2 and 3, which would be phase 2, we will work with curriculum and instruction. We'll be designing curriculum, marketing, coding, technology, all different areas, broadcast skills, etc. that will go along with it, and those will go along with the classroom courses. So there'll be general ed classes as well as CATE courses that will get credit for students that are involved. And then their third phase is then to expand the program into the middle schools along with the curriculum, et cetera, so that throughout basically grades 5 through 12, there will be programs or clubs building to the competitive level, which will give us national, state and national recognition, as well as provide students the opportunity to earn college money, financial assistance, scholarships that are being offered. It's a multi-billion billion-dollar industry, and it's a growing industry. And so we're excited to get that program started.
Thank you so very much. The other question I had was about Chronos. Will it communicate with Munis?
Yes, ma'am, it will.
Yeah.
It will integrate.
It will integrate with them.
Can't hear you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, any other questions? Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't necessarily have a question, but I did want to add to the conversation in regards to esports. And I'm glad to see that we're moving forward with esports. One of the nonprofits that I work with, we currently have esports in our community. We've already been notified by, I believe it's Florence, for a competition. Esports is the new thing. If you've done any research on what esports allows for our children, right now there's about $15 million worth of scholarships being offered. There are 20 universities right now that already have esport programs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's more than that, but it's a base of about 20. And I know here in South Carolina, I believe, is it Benedict College has esports? So we're kind of
CRU as well.
Right. So we're playing catch up in a industry that's been out and thriving for quite some time now for our students. And you know, every kid's not going to go to college, but you've got 16 and 17-year-olds walking around millionaires that game all day long. And I know a lot of times parents don't understand that, but it's a lot of things that are being taught to our young people with that gaming system. And I've seen it firsthand when we first did the grand openings at the Parks and Rec project. These young people have a skill set that we've got to tap into. You know, that concentration and all those other things. So I just wanted to add to the conversation that I'm glad to see us moving forward with esports because it's been something that we've been wanting to see for quite some time, and to see this now being spread across the district is going to be great for our children. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other question or discussion? Commissioner Clyburn.
Yes, thank you so much for that presentation. And I'm just really following up with Commissioner Harris on that, because the question I had, I'm getting the feeling, I don't know whether it's because sports is in the title or in the name of it. If people are feeling like, you know, kids are just playing games and they're wasting time, can you go into a little bit more of how this makes Richland One a little more competitive, you know, in this arena? Nationally, because I know that nationally it's already there. You know, kids are, you know, benefiting from this. Can you go into a little detail about that?
Well, much like athletics, okay, it's about teamwork. It's about dedication, commitment, things like that. Esports is no different. The communication part, they'll set up teams at each school. So we'll have competitions as we get started. We'll have district competitions, but then Florence is a big leader in the area. Orangeburg is a big leader right now. It's filtering into the Lexingtons, and it's all over. It's really growing in South Carolina. And you know, the e-sport is because it is competition, but it's not just competition, because the way that this is all set up is, yes, our kids are behind a screen and yes, they're playing, but you're looking at probably the last study that was done, or that we have, that we started this research 4 years ago. It was myself, Dr. Cooper, and Mark Leslie, among others that were involved with us. And 80% of the females, 90% males are all playing games. And then there's a portion of our population in all schools that kind of don't have a place to fit in with a typical curriculum and programs that schools have. Esports really brings in that, as well as the diversity that, girls and guys and special needs are all involved in this, and they're all on the same teams. So you have this huge group now that we can add to, and we'll still have the same kind of requirements that you'd have in our sports or activities, where you have to meet certain requirements educationally in order to participate. But that will give them a reason, a purpose, that we all know that athletics is great for our students. Well, this is just another aspect of that, giving us another program to reach our kids where they're at with things that they really enjoy doing. And so, personally, I was not a gamer, or am not a gamer, but with all the research and all the things that are positive that come out of this, I'm 100% behind this. I think this is a super thing that our district is doing. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. And I just have one quick question. Can you talk about, like, with that research that you've done, in other districts and around the nation, how the data looks as far as the behavior, how this is benefiting their students nationwide and in other districts?
With the research that we've done in all of the different schools, and we've sat in meetings. I know Tracy and I and our Dr. Cooper and Mark, we've sat in meetings with people in Texas, people in Kansas, again, we've talked to folks in Florence. We're actually trying to get a visit to Florence. We want to see how they've set up. Orangeburg, we want to go down to Orangeburg and see how they've set up, just to get different visions of what they're doing. But everybody that you talk to, and all the research shows, just like in athletics, those students that were sitting at that lower end, all of a sudden have a purpose and a meaning, and they want to be in school, they want to do well in the academics so that they can compete. It's all about the competition. And we have clubs already in some of our schools. I know Dreer's got a club, Floor's got a club, C.A. Johnson, and I'm sure I'm missing some. They have little clubs, but because we don't have the infrastructure yet, they're not really playing, they're playing each other. They're not playing outside of, because they can bring their switches in, which, again, I'm not a technology person, but it allows them to share the game between their components. Right. So they're playing among themselves. So when they go home, they can play outside of that. But again, this is all part of this program. Again, we're putting kids in activities, in the schools, in positive situations, and we're meeting a group that needs that. Not just, we're meeting everybody that wants to participate. And, there's going to be limits. You can only have so many in a team at a time. But again, that's why we decided to go to every high school instead of one location. And we are hoping at some point we'll expand to the middle schools. And, in long term, if we expand to the elementary schools, why not? If it works, those are things we can look at as we continue this program. But we think it's a great idea. We're so happy we finally got it to the board for you to vote on and to let us know. And then we'll begin our process at that point of moving forward. And hopefully we'll have a presentation for you next fall. I know we had some students that we had talked about possibly bringing in this time, but we wanted to wait and get everything going and then have students come in and present some of their information as well.
I have several questions. I'm looking forward to the strategic plan of how this looks, so we'll know at a baseline of what this investment is going to cost us, because we're not going to start something that we aren't going to finish.
Correct.
And I do believe this is where maybe the state of athleticism and the state of sports is heading. So my first question is, what is the position on the high school league regarding this?
At this time, the high school league is not going to be a governance of this program. Okay. At this time.
At this time. my second question is, and it's not a question, because I don't want to miss this moment. I love what you said about holding esports to the same standard that we hold our regular sports program. So any students who are very excited about this, so you don't miss what he said, this does mean they have to have a 2.0 average.
That is correct. And just to clarify that means fall semester, when you come to school in the fall, this spring's grades are what count. And then they check in the fall for the winter spring semester. So if you're wanting to get involved, now's the time to start looking at where your grades are, because the 2.0, once the programs go into effect and they're sponsored, now clubs might be a little bit different, but the competitive part of it will be that 2.0 will be part of that.
And my last question about esports, because I do have other questions about other things. When we do look at how this is categorized, is this on the side of athleticism with co-curricular, or is it on the side of CATE and academics?
That's still being discussed. It's going to be more, well, the academic side is going to be curriculum and instruction.
Yeah.
The competitive side will probably fall within this initial setup. We will have what I call my esports director, kind of like an athletic director.
Okay.
So I will have somebody that will be overseeing the 7 high schools and helping each school get their coaches and get their team set up and all of those parameters set up. And of course, I'll be overseeing that with them. And Dr. Cooper and Mark Leslie will also be helping us with all of that. But then it will be, I'm sure with some of the competition, I'll be part of that discussion along with our other committee members as we go through and move to more of that side of it. But to get it going, it's going to be more club and intra-district or inter-district with some outside competitions. And then as we get more comfortable where we're at and we add in the curriculum and instruction aspect, which we're going to begin working on this spring and summer, and we'll start moving forward with that. That will be, that'll be a combination curriculum instruction, Kate, and anybody else that we need membership with or who we have to partner with as far as that is concerned.
All right, and thank you. This is I'm done with my question with esports, but the comment I'm closing with is this could be very impactful, maybe even transformational, expansive throughout our community, because just like little league baseball teams feed into our high school baseball programs, the community and even the city and even county, they will have to probably speed up the development of this EA Sports. So as we have all these community and neighborhood organizations, even things that may be sponsored by city or county, like rec centers are owned by the county and the city, well, we're going to have these clubs and these organizations really growing children. So as they come into the Richland One footprint and programs, they are competitive. Because what will happen is if you're talking about limited players on a team, it's going to be just as competitive as someone making the baseball team or basketball team at our local school. So this is going to be something that transforms and leads the way that we may need to definitely have a conversation about. So looking forward to the strategic presentation.
You got it in the committee.
Okay, no.
We sent
When I
you
look
our
at it,
plan, and you had the first year budget, but we do have an outlook and all of that. But we did send you the strategic plan.
all right, resend it to me.
the committees. So if
Okay.
you need that again, I'll be happy to send it.
Thank you. Commissioner Devine.
Just one quick question along those same lines. As my colleague spoke about, somebody spoke about this earlier about dropout rate and graduation rate. I think this would be an excellent dropout rate prevention going forward, and I think it's be an excellent graduation rate help us to increase the graduation rate. So, do we have any research on that just yet, or we just
In the schools that it's in, where it's popular in that, it is helping. And again, it's like anything else, if you can find a hook to catch them, you'll keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's this is just another aspect, just like anything else. It's once you can get them into something, that feeling of belonging, that all of that works towards that graduation rate. Because if you can keep them and hook them in, then you can keep them in school and get that success going. So
Good
absolutely.
deal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Commissioner Myers.
Just a quick statement. I just want to thank you. Thank you for that information and educating the community as well as the parents, for them to have a fully understanding what esports is. Just thank you. I appreciate it.
I did ask a couple other questions, no longer about the esports. Thank you, Coach Matz. You got classroom furniture. Can you explain to us, as maybe even the public, is this an increase or a decrease to us regarding our furniture upkeep? 'Cause that's what it is. You good? You good? You good?
Good evening, Chairman.
Yes.
And board members, Dr. Beasley. This is a reallocation of ESSER funds that were already available. We've already started this project, and we also have used, well, that's what you asked me. You want to know some more?
Yes. Thank you so much. Now I was on to another item, so this is not your item. Professional development, is that an increase or a decrease?
The amount for the professional development is to bring us back to the amount that we cut when we did our fiscal year 24 budget. We, in the past year, we have operated at a 600,000 and we did a net decrease of 300,000. So now we want to be able to put it back to the 600,000 budgeted limit so that we can still operate our professional development across the district.
All right. Last question, and I'm done with all my questions. Motor fleet, is that an annual cost for us, $250?
So the motor pool fleet has in annual, they have operated out of our capital project 8% funds. This year, what we are noticing is that a lot of our vehicles are beginning to time out as far as maintenance costs and mileage. And when we say time out, it is costing us more to fix these vehicles and to continue our operation across the district. We want to be able to bring new vehicles in for our warehouse department so that they can continue the services of the district.
All right. Any other question, discussion? All right. Seeing none, hear none. All right. This is an action item. All questions? Let us cast our vote electronically. Seven 7-0 vote, the ayes have it. Motion passed. We're at Office of Operations, 11.01, request for reallocation of funds, presented by Mr. Grant.
Good evening, Chair Bishop. The administration is requesting approval for the reallocation of $85,000 from Project 46052, which is the weapons detector account, to reallocate it to a new project to purchase and equip an emergency response trailer and vehicle to assist in effectively responding to emergencies and providing support to reunification efforts. The administration so recommends.
You heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Devine. Question or discussion? Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know my question is already up, so you already knew. I just wanted to make sure that our Director of Security share with the board what has been shared with me and the committee, with F&F committee, as to the need for this vehicle with some of the challenges we're facing right now with emergencies and evacuations and the emergency generator and all that other stuff. We had a lot of questions in our committee meeting, but if you could speak to that. And also for you, Mr. Grant, this is a reallocation. This is not new money or carried over money. This is money that's left in the budget for the metal detectors that we're using out of what we've already set aside for security to now put a vehicle on the road that helps in those emergency situations. Is that what we're doing? Okay. And if you could just share with the board, what this vehicle is going to be doing for the district.
Good evening, Dr. Bishop, board, commissioners, Dr. Veazey. This vehicle is not necessarily a vehicle. It is a trailer, emergency response trailer that will house emergency supplies such as generators, tables, first aid kits, limited emergency type food, water, any emergency equipment that we would need to help mitigate any incident that the district may take place within Richland 1 at any one of our schools. We have had incidents where we actually had to evacuate our students and they had to wait in their fields and whatnot. And this aid us. This will allow us to rapidly tend to Richland 1 students and staff and make sure that we're creating a safe environment for them while that incident is being mitigated.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's the only question.
Any other question or discussion? Commissioner Devine.
Yes, sir. Can you tell us how this is different than what the Sheriff's Department provides or what the City of Columbia Police Department provides?
Yes, sir. Great question. In any incident, emergency response incident, you have a collaboration between law enforcement and emergency management. In the district, Richland 1 has security emergency services, and our primary objective is to make sure that Richland 1 students and staff and stakeholders are okay whenever there's an incident. Law enforcement, if they're called to a situation, they are dealing with technically from their response, mitigating that issue. From Richland 1 perspective, we're making sure that our staff and students and stakeholders are being tended to and help mitigating that situation. So it's not only for maybe a reunification, which we hear a lot about, but it can be from any time that we have to evacuate a building and a reunification may not take place, but we have students out of their building, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Myers.
Help me have a better understanding. So this trailer would be located at every school, elementary, middle? No? So explain that to me.
So it will be located at a designated location that if the need should arise, that our rapid response team will go into effect and we will respond to the incident, wherever it may be. So we're not talking about where we have 52 sites. No, we're just talking about one vehicle, one trailer that will house all of the supplies that we would need to help mitigate that situation.
So I guess I want to better understand that. For the distance from one end of Richland 1 to the other end of Richland 1, yeah. I'm concerned about the distance. So explain to me how we'll be able to make sure we get there in a certain timely manner if, per se, we're on one end of the district.
That's a great question, and one of the reasons why we need this vehicle. Mm-hmm. We had to travel down to the lower end of the district, Weber, Gas. Mm-hmm. Those schools are a little farther away from the main warehouse, and it may take a while before supplies arrive there. This vehicle, pulled by this trailer, emergency rapid response, with the vehicles that are located within security emergency service department, will be able to respond to that situation as we do in any emergency. When the emergency calls for, we're able to rapidly respond in a timely manner through our vehicles that we have. And we'll be able to offer service to any school, whether it's a school close to the warehouse or a school that's located down Lower Richland or up in the north end of the district.
Great information. Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Wester.
Thank you, sir. With this trailer will it include, you said water and things of that nature. Would it include porta potties?
Yes, ma'am. So believe it or not, in emergency management, you may not think that it will have porta potties in it. It will actually have made up of the emergency equipment. If you think of a 5-gallon paint bucket with the necessary tools, it will have that. To give you real quickly some items that will be located in this trailer: tents, generator, buckets that could be used for restrooms, generators, tables and chairs, electric cords that we can set up if we had to reunite parents and have our own electricity power to be able to power up laptops, and so that we can properly, securely reunite students with their parents. Because we still have to have a secure program in place, checking IDs, checking with Power School. We get all that information from our laptop. Children get thirsty. Children get a little hungry. You have those type of, you think of military rations, so you have those type of emergency food items that could be used until other supplies are able to arrive or we're able to unite them to their parents.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Several questions here. To my colleague, Ms. Myers, she gave the scenario that this trailer don't know where to be situated, but if it happened to have been on one range of the district and having to come to another side of the district, paint that picture a little more to me, as in how the rapid response look. Is it a emergency vehicle that we own that pulls it with lights burning all the way across the district?
Yes, so we have in the district, within the Security Emergency Service Department, a staff that is being highly trained, that comes with emergency preparedness background, and as well as some law enforcement background. If at any given time an incident should take place, this staff goes into action, and we'll be able to respond, load up, or as we say, saddle up, and we will head to that incident. There are vehicles that are equipped with lights, emergency response lights, and that will allow us to get through safely on the roads to the destination to help mitigate, set up, and deal with that incident in a proper way.
All right. Was there any question in this planning of this resource opportunity for a rapid response where we had a discussion with Sheriff Lott, Chief Holbrook, regarding their inventory of resources that could assist us in this matter? When we start talking about this being one of the things that we own, was there anything that we said to the Sheriff Department, to the City of Columbus Police Department, this is a gap for us? This is something that we do not have to service a rapid response. Was there any meeting with Sheriff Lott, Chief Holbrook, to try to make sure they took on this responsibility instead of us?
To answer that question, no. However, in part of our emergency operation plan that's been part of the district, part of our SRP is that we have the task of responding and addressing the district needs. Law enforcement address the law enforcement, and we work together, part of our MOU. But again, if I can answer your question is, as we looked at and strategize our plan, we do share and we do talk about with our command team in terms of how we will mitigate situations. But if there is an emergency, law enforcement would deal with and mitigate that incident. We, as a district, has to be responsible for standing up our crisis plan taking care of our students in terms of medical care, in terms of reuniting them with parents. All of that is a part of our emergency operation plan, as you know. And so did we have a conversation as we looked at and strategized constantly lately about this machine, this equipment? No, sir.
All right. Still got questions.
Okay.
Anyone else has questions, I can suspend mine. All right. When you talk about rapid response to emergencies, what is the crisis that we're talking about? Is it earthquake? Is it flooding? Because you say reunification, right? Which is the purpose of all this. What does that look like so that we differentiate from what the response is from the law enforcement to what we're doing?
Dr. Bishop, let me be clear. Oftentimes in emergency, we see this happening across our nations. When we think about emergency and school emergencies, first thing comes to one's mind is active shooting.
Yes.
And it's important to be prepared for that. But we also have incidents where we have power outages, that we may have to evacuate a school. We have gas leaks. We may have to evacuate the school. We have, you mentioned earthquake. Being a Georgia boy, I got here, I was like, oh, we have earthquakes in South Carolina, but we actually do have earthquakes. Yeah. But our emergency operation plan outlined a number of instances from Lake Murray dam failure. We have to be prepared for that. From electrical power outage, gas leak, school disturbance, bomb threats. So there are a number of instances that are not just active shooter where you have to set up a reunification. A reunification as a whole, like I said, active shooter, we had another location. You can have a partial reunification as you have evacuation. You're still on site, but you're not in your building, or you may be in your building and eventually it lost power. And so that's where not only with the Security Emergency Services, the rapid response team will come in place, we're able to set up, but we're also still working with our operation team. We got a great operation team that we have, my colleagues led by Director Henry and led by Chief Operator Grant, and we all still working together, our food service team. They all going into action. Our academic, our continuity, our academic team are going into action and help mitigate this situation. But until we bring everyone together, that's for that rapid response team. We're going to be set up, we're going to be ready to go, and we're going to respond no matter what the incident may be.
Yeah, Mr. Brown, you're doing a great job. So we're having this conversation because I want to make sure that we're validating this expense, right? We're justifying why we need this.
Right.
And so someone may ask this crazy question. It's not a crazy question because it's a question. What if someone says, why they just won't get a box truck and move those type of supplies out there? Why is this a need? Like, why do we have to buy this when you got all these other fleet of vehicles that could do the same operation? So we gotta address everything about this so that the public will say, I see what they see.
So we haven't discounted the other departments. We still rely on. For instance, we have box structures for our nutrition services. They'll have food. Our warehouse team, we'll be calling on them and say, hey, we need you to load these pallets of water on the truck. But until that team and that personnel is able to get that or resources to load up and whatnot, that rapid response team is already there.
Okay.
Time is of the essence. If I can just say this, time is of the essence. It can save lives. It can save lives.
Great answer. 2 more questions.
Okay.
When we look at other districts, is this just a brand new idea, or have you seen this happening at other districts?
Well, I wish it was a brand new idea. I might be a millionaire. But other districts that have response trailers, not to promote other districts, but in the state of South Carolina that have trailers, that they have, some even have actually emergency RVs that or buses that they have renovated and whatnot. But what we're asking here to help support and continue to develop and help the security emergency services be effective and efficient as possibly can for Richland 1 is a trailer and the utility equipment that we need to make that possible.
Mr. Brown, this is my final question. What does it look like if we don't buy this? If we don't purchase this, what does it look like in that emergency crisis or response?
Well, we continue to do what we do, okay? But this will look like if we did have it, you will see a more effective and efficient. I think my team does a great job, but we'll continue to go from good to great if you allow us to buy this.
Yeah. And again, to your statement, you said it's a matter of what? Saving
lives.
Okay.
Sure.
Commissioner Clyburn.
Oh, did you have a question? Good. Okay. So this was brought up, I think Chairman Bishop brought this up with Richland County. I know you said that the District 1 in Richland County, they were not basically in the weeds as far as, getting feedback and sharing information of the resources that is on this trailer, that are on this trailer. But Richland County, have they at least been supportive of the notion of this addition, to our district? Have they said, we believe that you need this, or has that conversation taken place?
No, ma'am. That conversation, again, I said, has not taken place, but I believe that as a whole, for our safety and emergency services through our MOU program and whatnot, that not only our Richland County Sheriff Department and our city Columbia Police Department is supportive of us, of the district, in creating a safe and secure environment. Again, we have communication, if not a few times a day, with the lead team on various issues in our schools. And when a situation takes place, we all are working together doing our part. And it's not just if an incident takes place that we'll be able to utilize and tap into Richland County Sheriff Department, the city, but we also have the emergency management if it warrants to that level. All of us coming together, working collectively as a team to help mitigate an incident.
And I just want to make it clear, I didn't ask that question just for validation purposes. I was just wondering, because from what I do know of our city and our county police departments, they're supportive of, safety and, us adding extra layers if we need to, if we see a need. So I believe that they would have been supportive. I just wanted to know if that conversation had taken place. So thank you.
Somebody else out here had a question?
Okay, thanks.
3 more questions. Does the City of Columbia Police Department, because you say you didn't have any conversation with them, does the City of Columbia Police Department have one of these trailers? County?
I would assume they do. Most agencies have technical response units. Those technical response units are Pacific. Again, with Richland 1 having this equipment, it allows us to address Richland 1 and not take away from that technical response from law enforcement. They're able to address the incident and allow us to work our plan. We're all working together, doing our part to to help mitigate an incident.
Mr. Brown, why not multiple?
What about
Multiple trailers? Why not multiple?
honestly, if I can get multiples, then yes, that allow one on one end of the county.
This is a big district.
But yes, it is. But this is a start. This is a start. This will allow us to work a plan and say, yep, we have it here. This is what it's doing, and this is how the next one, if it should be, can be. May not be as big. May not, of a trailer, or may need larger. I don't know, but we can come back, have those discussions, put a plan together, and present it to leadership.
Any supplies that need to be maintained? What does the maintenance cost look like for this? Like you said, it's going to be water on there or some other stuff. Because this is purchased, is there any maintenance that follows this?
Well, say for instance, water. There's a water shelf life for water, but there are water that are liquid and that can sustain a little longer shelf life than say the bottled water that you have in front of you, especially for emergency purposes.
All right. Okay, Commissioner Myers.
I guess I have done a little bit of research trying to get a better understanding of some of the equipment that you might could be using on the trailer. And I also kept in mind the new gun law. The gun law have changed or may have changed. So I'm have a little vision in mind as if graduation or a large championship football game and now the gun is accessed like, let's say 3 minutes away from an argument. Give me an outlook of what would took place if, just say, 3 guns done got loose and a couple of rounds that went around. What staff will be put in place to get the equipment and take it to the individual that might be hurt or harmed at that time before 911 can actually come and support us?
So I can give you a scenario. Say it's one of our major football games, a big game rivalry. This unit, with part of our SOP, will deploy any week just to be in the parking lot to aid or on site and to be a command site the way we kind of design it out. And so if there's no incident, great. But if there is an incident, that is a mobile command station there at that particular site, and wherever personnel is there will be able to respond and address that issue. In terms of your question, in terms of the new law, I think there's more discussion that will come. But this, in terms of this unit, it will not just buy and just sit there until the incident. It will be integrated, implemented into what we do. We have some ideas that even maybe, when elementary school have career day, that we ride along there with them to be able to teach them about emergency management and preparedness. But that's to come. And but we're looking to go good to great with our programs. So.
And I'm just asking for the vision because I really do think it's a great idea. Actually staying in the Lower Richland area and had an opportunity to call 911. I know it takes at least 15 minutes to get there. So I just want to say thank you for this information. And I just had I would love some more information about it in the future.
All right, Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to make a few comments, kind of to piggyback on what Commissioner Myers just stated. I've seen a lot of emergencies in this district that was not always related to violence or things of that nature. We have had gas leaks where we've had to evacuate schools that have over 1,000 students. So, I'm sitting here listening and saying to myself, if we had had this trailer back then, there were a lot of kids out there hungry, and it was the coldest day of the year. I know, Dr. Prince, you might remember that. It's the coldest day of the year, and we had kids outside, freezing cold, waiting for buses to come back because they were triple routed to get our kids evacuated to their rescue site. We had some incidents at Weber where some issues was going on with the water, and we were waiting for cafeteria to load up a truck to bring water to our kids and porta potties. So just knowing that we will have this is a good thing. And in the words of Sheriff Lott, he feels that this is a great thing that we're doing, and it will help in emergencies. He's someone that I do talk to very often. This is a good thing. This helps. It's not their role to provide snacks to our kids when they get hungry. That's our responsibility. So I think that being able to have this emergency preparedness truck, or whatever we want to call it, trailer or whatever it is, it's an add. And I do know that there are several districts, as you have said, in the state that have this already in place, because with Richland 1 being that 500 square miles, we do have to take all of that into consideration. There are emergencies that happen on a dime. We can talk about the fires that we have at our apartment complexes. And we have families that are displaced. And you all know Richland 1 has to jump into action. Sometimes we jump into action with a school bus. So, this helps in a lot of ways, help a lot of things. And everything is not going to be always a shooter. Sometimes it's just going to be that the weather was cold and the pipes burst and we got to get the kids out of there. So, I just wanted to add that in there, and also to state on behalf of the sheriff that he thinks that this is a good thing that we are doing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. I want to just add to the conversation, if you all can recall, during the Christmas break, when the families of the colony, right, Jamie, were displaced, and Richland 1 responded to the need by way of leadership, resources. Is no telling of what this type of resource would have done to help our leadership respond to our families and our children. So it was a conversation about the value add of this. And if there's no other questions, I think it's time for us to go ahead and take a vote. It is a 7-0 vote, unanimous. The motion passed. The ayes have it. We're now at item 12, Office of the Superintendent. 12.01, the Superintendent's Report, presented by Dr. Vesey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I want to say congratulations to Lower Richland High School's Army JROTC drill team on winning first place overall in the 4th Brigade Regional Armed Drill Competition. The LR drill team competed against schools from Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., North Carolina, and South Carolina on March 9th in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. In addition, the LR drill team has qualified for the National High School Drill Team Championship for the 3rd year in a row. They are set to complete in Daytona Beach, Florida in May. On Thursday, March 14, we will honor 241 outstanding middle school students as junior academic all-stars during a special ceremony at Dreher High School. These students have excelled academically, and they are engaged in extracurricular activities and community service. Congratulations to all our junior academic all-stars. We are always looking for even more talented teachers to join the Richland 1 team. Our spring teacher job fair will be held Saturday, April 13, from 10 a.m. till noon at Eau Claire High School. The deadline to register is April 11th. The registration link and other details are posted on our website, richland1.org. We have several education-related observances throughout the year, and I want to highlight a few of the observances for March. March is Music in Our Schools Month, which celebrates school music programs and recognizes the importance of music education. March is National Social Work Month, which highlights social workers and the essential roles they play in the well-being of communities across the country. Last week, March 3rd through 9th, was National Social Work Week. March is also observed as Procurement Month in South Carolina. The observance recognizes the contributions made by public procurement and fixed assets management professionals to the responsible management and monitoring of goods and services. March is also Women's History Month, which recognizes and celebrates the vital role of women in American history and in society today. Please join us in acknowledging and celebrating these observances. Thank you to our music educators, our school social workers, our procurement staff, and to women in Richland 1 and across the nation for the contributions you make every day. And as a reminder, Friday, March 15th is a teacher work day. Students will not attend school Friday. Classes will resume on Monday, March 18th. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Dr. VC. Any questions or discussions for Superintendent report? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. Thank you. We'll now go to item 13, which is Office of the Board. 13.01, Board Reports. This is a moment in time when any board commissioner, any one of our board members can share something from their desk they would like to report out or share. At this time, I think I see Commissioner Devine's hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In keeping with what Deputy Superintendent Dr. VC said, do want to honor the women of Richland School District 1 as we did with Black History Month. I do have a trivia question for my fellow colleagues on the board. Do we know how many schools are named for women in Richland School District 1? How many?
A lot.
Let's take a poll. Let us have some fun with this.
Any thoughts?
7.
9.
9. Very good.
I did not look at your paper.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I'm messing with you. But I do want to name those 9 schools. Annie B. Burnside, as we know, was named for Miss Annie B. Burnside Elementary. Brennan Elementary was named for Francina C. Brennan. She was a teacher and administrator in the district for 46 years. I'm going to come back to this one. Creighton Middle School. Creighton Middle School was named actually for 2 ladies, Liza Eve and Nan Creighton in 1953. Then Sarah Nance, of course, was named for Sarah Ford Nance. She was an outstanding teacher in our district, born in Georgetown, married a lawyer here named Butler Nance, and became a teacher to support her 4 children when her husband died in 1923. And then we have, of course, Virginia Pack Elementary, and that was formerly the Belvedere Elementary School, and it opened in 1957, and at the time was considered the finest and most modern elementary school in the state of South Carolina. Miss Virginia Pack moved from being district elementary consultant to become the first principal and served there until her death in 1973. And then we have Watkins School. Watkins School was named for Miss Elaine Stanley Watkins. She was a supervisor of tests and measurements for the Columbia schools, and she died in 1935 after serving each of the 4 superintendents at that time. And then we have Fannie McCants. I know many of you are familiar with Miss McCants. Fannie McCants Elementary. Miss McCants was one of the original teachers in the Columbia schools who taught from 1883 until her death in 1926. And then we have the Weber School. The land was donated by 2 brothers, William H. and P.R. Weber, and also the sister, Mamie Weber. Weber was the first principal as well. And then if you add these 2 names, at the old Crane Creek Elementary, it was 3 schools that came into one. It was Crane Creek, Sarah Matthews, and the Monteith School made up the Richland School District 2B for the Negroes. So if you add those two names, actually it's going to be 11. So we honor the women for Women's History Month as well. So that's my Women's History Month for Richland School District 1. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other reports? Commissioner Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll be brief. I did attend the roundtable discussion for the Richland 1 and Richland 2 teachers on last week. Also proud to announce to my colleagues that House Bill 3430 was voted on today, and it passed unanimously. And that is a win for us here in Richland 1, because that means that retired bus drivers can now come back to the district and will not lose their retirement and can still receive pay. So I certainly want, you can clap because that's a big deal. That's big for us. But I want to take this time to publicly thank Richland 2 that helped us today. It was a busy day today at the Capitol. And I want to thank those folk, Kwame, for your help today. I know we were bothering y'all with a lot of questions, but it was a unanimous vote, and that is major. So I want to thank the A-team of the School Board Association that works with us to make sure that we are fighting and advocating for bills and things of that nature that are going to help strengthen schools across the state of South Carolina. So to any retired school bus drivers that would like to return back to Richland 1 and were afraid of losing their retirement, there has been a vote, and that vote declares that you will not be punished to come back and you will still receive your pay. And that is a great win for the schools of South Carolina. That concludes my, well, I have one other thing. Also, last week I was in a meeting with the Education Oversight Committee for the state. I will follow up with that later because there are some questions that I have that I would like to ask Dr. Witherspoon and Ms. Minor in regards to the data of the detention centers and the mental health facilities that do impact our schools. Commissioner Bishop, there's some data that possibly is impacting Keenan as well that we need to talk about. So I want to hold that part of my report until he's here. But I do want to say that we had an opportunity to talk to the Education Oversight Committee, and as a team of the school board regional directors really express our concerns as it relates to, there's some changes coming in the spring when it comes to testing that we've got to gear up for. And the sad thing is, our teachers don't know exactly what that looks like right now. So these were things that were expressed on behalf of Richland 1 and Richland 2 so that our Education Oversight Committee folks understand that a lot of these decisions and the delayed decisions are really hurting our classrooms. It's hurting our teachers. So just wanted to give that quick brief update to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lomanak.
Thank you, Chairman Bishop. Just two quick issues. One, I'm getting a lot of emails from teachers and families about the calendar situation. And I think didn't make it on the agenda. So it looks like we will not have a finalized calendar until maybe late March, early April, which seems later than normal for us. I'd ask the board that next year we set a deadline, a concrete deadline.
We had two readings.
Well, then why isn't it posted?
I can't answer that.
That's the question.
But the board has passed it.
Yeah, we've had it.
Okay, so that's what I told someone, and then I was told we had another I told a parent, and then I was told that we had another reading. Then I think the
Who
question
told you we
is
had
of Dr.
another reading?
Veazey.
Who told you we had another reading?
I'll look back through my texts or emails.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the question is, why isn't it posted?
That's the question.
If we voted on it 2 weeks ago, it needs to be posted because people are trying to make plans and they're wondering, and there's not another district that I can find that hadn't posted it. So let's get it posted. And I would encourage
We get a response for you. Hold on.
I can answer that, Chairman Bishop. We are working with HR. HR is finalized and we'll be bringing to executive team tomorrow for all of the additional work days that have to be listed on there. And of course, those days are identified so that makeup days can be identified. That should be finalized. And as soon as that's finalized, we'll be able to post it. It should be this week.
I'd encourage next year for us to set a deadline in January that it's posted so that because people are trying to figure out summer school plans, summer childcare plans, teachers are trying to figure out vacation plans. I think if we as a board set a deadline, and it may mean that we have to start things a little earlier. I mean, I know some districts set it in September. I don't know if we need to do it that early. I don't think September necessarily helps families more than December or January, but I do think that by the end of January, we really need to set a deadline that we are done the school, with the calendar, and I know it takes us at least 4 weeks if the meetings, if we have 2 in that 1 month. So I know that it takes a lot of planning, but I think parents have been pretty patient. And the second thing, and I know other board members have gotten emails about this, the interventionists at our schools that were funded with non-recurring federal ESSER funds. This has been the fiscal cliff that everybody knew was coming. We have got to find a way to keep those folks in their current positions. We will have hundreds of teacher vacancies at the beginning of the year. We can use some of that money. We know we're going to have them. We can use that money, reallocate that money to keep these folks. These are students who need those folks the most, and to either move these interventionists to other schools in other capacities, I don't think serves the functions that they're serving now. So I think the board can come up with a strategy to work with the district to make sure that all of these interventionists are assured that they can come back in their same positions next year and serve the schools and kids they're already serving. Thanks, Chairman Bishop.
All right. Commissioner, what? You had something?
No.
Oh.
You got a response to that?
No, I don't, except to say that, Commissioner Lomanak, those interventionists, there's a process that we use, and when we look at staffing, and so when principals request through their EDs that they get certain positions or keep certain positions, that is looked at. There's no guarantee that they're going to be right there, but we will look at what the request is, because they were funded through ESSER. And so we're going to have to swallow that and see how we can make funds available so that all schools can get what they need. So I will say that we will take a look at that.
Maybe if I could ask that the administration provide the board with a list of all the current interventionists and where they are this year, so we can get an idea while we're going through the budget process of how much it would cost to find funds in other places to continue them if the principals, because what I don't want to happen is the principals say, yes, I really need this person, and us say, that was ESSER funding, we don't have any money next year for ESSER funding because it's got to be, it's over in September. I think if we plan as part of the budget process, we can at least head some of that off if the board has an idea of how many interventionists we have, where they are, how much it costs. That would be helpful from the administration.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Weston.
Okay, thank you, sir. I would just like an update on the repairs of the buildings, the plan to actually get them so that I know that we've talked about termites and rats and all of those other things. How do we fix those buildings and keep our children in the classrooms and our teachers safe? So if we can have a plan so that we can see how much money it's going to take and what the action will be, it will be very helpful.
You have a scope of what you're talking about, or are you talking about all schools?
We've gotten complaints from most of the schools, but I'm saying, how do we repair that? You send Orkin in, but if you got to repair the ceiling, repair the floor, do some renovations, we need to know what that looks like in the time frame that it will happen, so that our children won't be displaced, and neither will our teachers and the staff.
Definitely communicate with the superintendent by way of email, maybe what schools you're talking about. And we do know what schools are in question, but just let him know what scope that you're talking about, or even his staff, because we do know what schools do deserve a look back. Okay, we do get it.
Well, I'm thinking that, I remember he stated that they have a plan of when they will be done, but I've asked that that plan be shared with us so we will know when it will be done as well.
Okay, all right. You got that?
I got it.
All right. All mind and hearts clear. All right, no other questions. Commissioner James Devine.
Just real quick, when does the board hear the budget? When would the budget come before the board, approximately?
We are aiming to have our first reading of the budget done at the April board meeting. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's April 23rd, but I may be wrong on that date.
So it's the fourth Monday in April. fourth Tuesday in April.
Correct.
April.
That's our only board meeting
In the month of April. Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, all right. Commissioner Harris.
Just a follow-up question, but that's pretty much a ghost budget because we don't have our numbers finalized from the state, correct? Or the county?
Correct.
Correct. We
So-
have not received our House Ways and Means projections
Right.
or any projections from the State Department at this time.
Okay.
We attended our SCASBO conference on last week, and they announced that the State Department will be pushing out our first round of projections. But of course, it has to go through House and Senate to finalize. So it will be a ghost budget,
Right.
and we'll have to tweak it during that time frame. But the main goal is to get our first reading completed prior to our county
Right.
session so that we can present our information to the county.
And that is based on zero-based budgeting, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
One more question. Regarding the budget, we do go to several clusters to hear from the community about budget
Yes.
suggestions.
We had 3 input sessions in the month of February, and we have 2 staff input sessions. One on the 21st, which is aiming towards our certified and classified, and the other on the 28th of March, which is aiming towards our principals.
All right. So if there is any other feedback that the community want to give towards the budget, is that door still open at this time?
They still can reach out via communications department or directly to myself if they would like to provide any feedback.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, discussion? All right. We're now at the last item on the agenda, item 14, the adjournment. There's an announcement before we adjourn. 14.01 states, the next regular meeting of the Richland 1 Board of School Commissioners will be held on March 26, 2024 at 7 p.m. at Hand Middle School with no objection. We now stand adjourned.